At 8:00 a.m., we're gonna start the meeting, we're gonna call it to order. First thing we have is approval, disapproval of the minutes of December 2nd, 2022 special meeting. I assume you guys finally got those?
Got a copy of something?
We're also gonna approve several of the executive commissions meeting, but do you have any questions on those minutes? That was a fairly short meeting and not much actually happened. 'Cause
Yep.
Kay Decker didn't have to make a presentation, so.
Can I move to approve the
You may
final
do
minutes
whatever
from
you choose.
December 2nd?
Okay, is that a motion? Okay.
Yeah,
I have a motion, I have a second to approve. A motion and a second to approve the minutes of December 2nd, 2022 special meeting. Roll call vote, please.
Connor,
Yes.
Melissa,
yes.
Randy.
Yes.
I vote yes too.
And Rick. I'm sorry, I got to looking like, I thought, well, shoot, I don't have down who was at the meeting
Wait
yet.
a minute.
Well, you can vote whether you were here or not. I just didn't want to make the motion.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
No, I mean, I'm putting
Yeah.
who's here today.
Okay, then we also have, next item is approval or disapproval of the financial reports as of February 2022. Those are part of your packet. Are there any questions? Is everybody current on the payments?
Yes.
Because I know on Dale Loxton, we had a zero payment on, for February, is that?
He paid extra the month before, his wife wrote the check, and I looked at it and I thought, wow. So I called her, I said, hey, you sent us $1,100, and it was only, oh. I said, you want me to bring your check? No, go ahead. And I said, all right. So that's why.
So I paid in advance, so.
I had just deposited theirs for this month, yesterday, I think.
And any interest in the incubator?
I hadn't had a chance to talk to Pope. Last time I talked to him, everything had kind of stalled out. So,
We're not in a very good time to be,
stalling,
well, or finding renters probably, tenants.
yeah.
I move we approve the financial report.
Second.
Got a motion, a second, to approve the financial reports as of February 2022. Roll call vote, please.
Rick,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Connor.
Yes.
Outstanding bills.
We have one to the committee for $2,450. $2,450.
Is that for donations, I mean, for money that's coming in for them specifically, or is that?
Yeah, it's just a pledge transfer.
Just the transfer?
Yeah.
I'd entertain a motion if we would like to get one done.
Also moved.
To pay.
Approved.
Okay. I have a motion to approve payment of the transfer from 2450 to the committee. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Connor,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes. Okay, I don't see an audit. Do we have an
No,
audit?
we haven't gotten anything at all from them yet,
Okay.
so we can table those.
Okay, I don't think we just won't take any action, don't need to table it, just no action.
No action?
Mhm.
Okay.
And so therefore, I assume that's the same thing for number 6. We aren't gonna
Yes.
do a contract until we get our audit, or?
Yes.
Okay. We'll take no action on that one. What about the Winoka incubator? Have you already told us everything you know?
Pretty much.
So we have no interest right now by anybody.
Not, I mean, I would think Alan would tell me if, somebody had talked to him, and so since the last time he told me there was somebody that was looking, I haven't heard anything from him, so.
You might check. And
I will.
Just let us know if something's up. You can send us an email or whatever. But Airport project, number 8.
We still don't have a survey yet.
I talked to our business manager at one point about that, and I think they're sort of at the mercy of the surveyor.
They are, it's a terrible situation.
They're having a hard time getting their work done as well, so I will follow up and see if we have any more
Okay.
information on that. And then I guess that leads us to your director's report.
I'm writing this, I'm thinking. We did get our ARPA funds sent in request. Have not heard anything on any of the county projects. I can't tell you exactly how many we sent in, but from 4 of those counties, but there's quite a few. I was contacted by another individual that works for that group about writing a RISE grant, which is an EDA grant for AVARD. And so we're gonna let them submit something, I don't know, we haven't started that process yet, I haven't started sending information that he's requested, but I got the grant information, which is about that, I didn't realize it was that much, and I printed it out. I like to read off paper more than I do off a computer screen, but I had no idea it was that thick.
So what kind of grants are they giving?
That could be transportation, it can be water infrastructure, and thank goodness Randy was there to help us. We took Jeff out to the AVARD, tentatively picked out a site and things like that, and, you know, we talked about water needs and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I have a call into the state fire marshal to give me some rules on size of buildings, you know, as far as water suppression and those kind of things, and so we can find out what we need to do.
So will they let you use it for construction?
The water? Oh yeah, we got enough for that, I think, don't we, Randy?
I mean, I would think that'd
We,
be, out there would be. pretty
yeah,
close.
but the fire suppression is a problem, but I found out that there are like some amendments to that rule. And it's like I told you, it's 12,000 square foot building.
Yeah.
Anything over that has to have a sprinkler system. But I found, and I think we're at the mercy of the fire marshal and his discretion, that can be waived on a bigger building with fire alarms. But that's strictly his call.
Okay.
And that probably would be dependent, at least in part, on the type of business that you're looking at, whether you're gonna have a high employee numbers or not.
I'd say business, and I'd say there's probably several things that go into, he'd probably have to see the plan,
Yeah.
the whole,
Mhm.
Well, and we're not to the point we have a plan yet.
Right.
I mean, he wants to get started on it, you know, within the next month or so and get it built and get up and going. He already had a deal the other day, he got a hold of me and said, you know, he'd like to hire someone here now. And so I got a hold of the state and I got the secretary number. So he could, his administrative assistant in Oregon contacted them, found out what all they needed for payroll and all that here, you know, an IN number and
Right.
all that kind of stuff. And so they got that done. So I think they're at the point that they can go ahead and put him on the books and be an employee. Because his business is in Oregon and all his business stuff is out of Oregon. He had to set up one for Oklahoma, which he did. And so he's ready to go on that end, and so he's hired this guy already. And he said, well, 14 to 15, 17 employees to start with.
I think so, yeah.
I know one of them is coming from Oregon to be the foreman of the plant. They did get second in that Seattle show as far as exhibitors, which is a huge deal. It's the largest home and garden show, I guess, or second largest in the United States. So they sold a lot of greenhouses, and so he's actively ready to go. He's going to talk to a couple of contractors and kind of get some pricing. Talk to a couple of contractors on the wiring of it, the plumbing. So if anybody knows those special contractors that they like, let me know so I can give him a list of them.
Well, there's one thing you need to remind him, that just because he's out in the country, he's still, and we don't have any codes or.
Yeah, we do. We have covenants and all that with ABOR.
Okay, well, but still.
Yeah, we don't.
As I finish, the state inspector he's gonna have to abide by their rules.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you have to comply regardless whether you're in the country or
Yes.
Right.
in the municipality. What are these grants, how much are they? I mean, what's the possibility there?
The one that we've got already submitted is like 73 million. But that covers everything we need at AGOR, lagoons, water tower, road, water coming into ABOR. ABOR had hired an engineer to go out there and engineer for all that. They sent us the feasibility study back on what needs to happen. Now, they did not specifically recommend an amount of water. So they give us, what different sizes would run.
Right.
And with the grant we got from Commerce, the $24,000 grant, we're supposed to hire one of the 3 groups that the state has, said were acceptable to, and they're companies that actually work with companies and have them, go to different places. So their site location, they will come out, look at our site, determine what industries would work really well in that area. Then they'll recommend water amounts, any gap that we have in utilities. So I'm hoping that'll go right along with what we've done with the engineer. Now, it won't tell us where to go and get it. It'll just give us, well, you're 40,000 gallons short on water.
You're talking about, mentioned a little bit ago about somebody writing the grants. Are they from OEDA or NODA or?
NODA.
Okay.
Devin is his name. I have not ever met him. I'm not even sure where he's out of, but apparently he deals with transportation. So, and he contacted us. Well, he contacted Vicky, and then Vicky contacted us and asked if, we'd be interested in him pursuing that.
Vicky.
Yeah, over here at Enid.
Okay.
And I can't think of her last name. But I mean, it doesn't cost anything to apply. So, trying to, I did go to the NOAA meeting in Woodward last month on the 22nd. And they had the group come in, out of Enid, Nowita, Noda,
No.
those, and they spoke on all the different kinds of grants that were out. It was really good information, and that's all it was, an informational deal. So you had a lot of city managers and city people in attendance, and that should help them immensely. And I think, now, I did take a relative of Jeff's around, and he's interested in a restaurant. So we did show him availabilities of different buildings and things like that, so. And he's also interested in some land. He'd like to raise some animals and things like that, so. I did show him that, and one of them was out by Freedom. So, actually, two of them were out by Freedom, but
One of them had a marijuana thing with it.
Yeah. but I don't think that's what he.
So he'd be into agriculture and animals.
I have no idea on that, but there's actually one right beside it. Randy probably knows which one that is. And
Well, it's a little ways from it. Right?
I was thinking part of it was connected, but I could be wrong. I was looking at a map, and on the road you cannot tell. So, and I didn't drive my pickup out in it, so I think that we will have. I mean, this is my goal. Is once we start construction and everything, we start advertising the movement at A-Board. And I believe that that will spur more activity. My hope is that some of that funding will come in and we can get, some of the water issues worked on at the same time as we're building. Now, will that happen? I don't know, but that's the best case scenario.
Well, that combination is a pretty good combination out there. I mean, what you're looking at grant-wise, it seems to me it all, kind of,
Ties together.
The biggest issue is that if they're not looking for a new source of water,
yeah.
it's a problem.
Yeah, and here's the deal though, most of the communities that did apply for that ARPA money, either reworking wells or re-drilling some wells was in that for them. So, let's hope that, we get a small part of that. The Rural Water 3, they called me and asked, well, we don't have any immediate plans, can we just use your engineering that you did for A-Board? And I said, well, sure you can. I said, but, I don't know what you guys need in the whole system. So really, you need to tell me well, that's good enough, we'll just do that. I mean, so, just so, that's what we did. We sent in what our needs were for A-Board.
Right.
Yeah.
So is the Rail Park Authority, are they involved in this process?
Very much.
I mean, I assume some of these things are being passed around and discussed in their board as well.
Yeah, and Randy's the expert on the water having been that guy that put it in, so we're fortunate to have.
Well, the big problem to me is that source of water, like Rural Water District 3 asked for 350 miles of new pipe, and a bunch of things, and all the pipe in the world's no good if you don't have adequate water to fill it. And Rick, you can tell me more. I don't know the condition. I know Winoka has water issues because everything has to go through their RO system, and that is about to eat their lunch down there, the maintenance and overhead on that.
With a whole lot of these communities around here, you know, our infrastructure is
And
Need
and
replacement.
Alva, the last I knew, and I stand to be corrected on this. I don't know if they've. I was told, or I understood that 2012 was the last time they did adequate data research on
Yeah,
their
and they're
wells.
doing that now.
I know, but
So,
where are we at? I mean, we don't know. Is my whole point. So all the pipe in the world, you don't
Yeah.
know if you got water to fill it.
I know they've been doing, the city of Alva's been doing things down the well, redoing some wells and adding. So, I mean, they're trying to rework those. I don't know whether we have any engineering on that tells us what our supply is.
Well, that was what I'm more interested in, to see what has happened in the last few years, because we haven't had a whole lot of rainfall, and groundwater is a big part of that water down there.
I can tell you, at my house, I can tell you where the groundwater is. Because when we had all those rains, you know, a couple years ago, couldn't flush my toilets because they were up in my laterals. Well, now my toilets flush like a king, and my pond, I have never seen it that low. So-
But here's the kicker, Neil, you're on the north side of the river, and everything migrates from the north to the south in the central United States. So that's why all the good water is on the north side of the rivers, and the sorrier water is on the south side. That's one reason they allowed the hazardous waste deal to be on the south side of the Cimarron, because the good water's on the north side. But nitrates is a huge problem because of all the ag
Right.
that the water's going through to get down there.
Yeah. I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I had a place, in approximately 20 acres, coming off that swimming pool, high pavement, out in the country, past Mackey's and stuff, and I had them drill me a well out there. And Lale says it's probably the best well he's drilled in the county. He said, you can irrigate with it, whatever you want to do. And so I found out that just north of there used to be the city of Alva's water.
Right.
Now, I don't know if they still have the rights or anything, but
I think they do. I don't know what happened there.
I'm not sure, I know that. It's been long enough and I've been there a long time.
yeah.
I know part
Never
of
been
the
discussed.
part of the deal is the river, the crossing, but it's really crazy. I didn't realize this but down there where the well fields are now, that water all gravity feeds. That's actually higher down there than Alva. And from up there, you have to pump everything across the river.
Okay.
After you pump it out of the ground, then you gotta pump it across the river. And now, whether there was enough, I don't know, but it blew my mind just to think that was higher down there than it is here.
Okay.
I mean, I understand down in the bottom.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I do know that we're at the bottom of that water, so we're the last one that loses water. You know, when they shut it off, we'll have water when people up north of us don't. So we are in the low area. So that makes sense.
well, all water systems work off gravity feed.
Yeah.
Well, the good ones,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's why they
I mean,
like
that's where you
the,
have water tower sitting up
Yes,
there on top
yes.
of the hill.
right.
we've got we went to, the legislative event for NOAA is February, I believe it's the 22nd.
Next year, or
No, this year. No, not February, March. Actually,
Okay.
just let me get my calendar out. Okay, it's the 28th at 6 o'clock at the Capitol. I know that they have been legislators have been extremely busy because of all this stuff, but it wouldn't hurt for our area to go up and kind
What
of
time's it?
6 o'clock.
Oh, 6, okay.
Yep,
in the historical building again.
yep. Trying to think if there was anything else I needed to tell you. Aviation, I'm still wanting to find some aviation, because I think our airport would be an excellent spot for some of these aviation, and there's a lot of it coming in state. Right off the bat, we get knocked out on a lot of them because we're not, 3 miles from an interstate or, something. There's always, but somebody will find that will like the rural area. And there are some of them that coming out now that specifically ask to be in the rural. So I think we have a chance to capture some of those.
How do we get that information?
The state sends it to me from, it's called an RFI, Request for Information. So anything that we could possibly fit, I submit, a location from the county, whether it's Avard, Alver, or Winoka, depending on what the need is. So,
Do we have any kind of packet that gets sent, or just information?
we custom, we just do it for every single one.
The reason I ask them that is sometimes, if you got a business and they're saying, okay, they can meet this need, but what other needs are they gonna meet? If we bring employees the hospital, they have a hospital, the university, the tech center, those things that make it better for the
Better.
employees, so,
Those are always added in there.
Okay.
Sometimes they won't allow you to answer anything other than what's on that sheet. Now, normally I'll try and put, we have a college, 4-year university and tech center, because if I'm an employee or employer, I want to know that information, because that's going to mean something to me. So I usually put that in there, even if it's not on the
I
sheet.
think the hospital's another part of that.
Yeah.
It's a big part, because people
Well-
don't wanna go somewhere where they can't get any kind of emergency care. if they need
I'm
it.
Churches
working on-
could be a big item.
Mhm.
I'm working on certifying through the state Avard Park. They want to know how many emergency, or where the closest one is, hospital. How many emergency employees are dedicated, full-time. How many police officers, how many, they want to know all of it. So that information is being gathered. I think there's some things we'll qualify for through the state if we have that done. So that's an important item, I think.
Right.
Sometimes gathering that information, because you're always counting on someone else to send you that information, takes a while.
Yeah, but I would think some of those people have a vested interest in providing that,
Yes.
because it increases the likelihood they're gonna be viable.
And I have, because Avard is certified through the rail, I do have some of that information. It's not current, but All I gotta do is get it current,
Right.
so that is one of the things that we're working on.
What about internet?
Internet, we had a meeting with Pioneer. They told us kind of what they needed, from us to, give them information about running fiber to everybody. I sent the survey to the chamber and to the city to see if they would push that out to their mailing or their customers. And they're gonna be doing that. Once we get those back, we send them Pioneer and then have another meeting. And we were I was surprised, you know, I figured they'd need a lot more money from us than what they said they would, so. I
So
just
they
don't-
gonna do independent mailings on those, or?
No. I talked to Angelica at the end of last week, and what they're gonna do is set up a site where, you know, and put in on the card that they send, go to this site and fill out this survey. And so it'll push them to that site, and hopefully they'll get on and answer the
It
survey.
really needs to be pushed though.
Yeah.
And maybe even advertised or something, because people, you know, they pay the bills, but they're
Well-
historically aren't gonna wanna get on and do any extra work.
Originally, I had thought they were gonna send with the bill. Well, it's a postcard.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I said, oh, well, yeah. So they came up with this plan, and so you're exactly right. Now we're gonna need to put it out and why it's important. So hopefully the people will fill them out and, you know, get those turned in, because it's critical.
Well, if they can get fiber, that'd be a big move in the right direction.
So,
So are they gonna do anything like say for the Chambers page, do I need to have them put it like on their Facebook page or put it with one of their newsletters? She
yes,
sends out like electronically and have like a survey and then,
yes.
Have a link to that.
Yeah.
okay.
Because, I mean, I can't tell you how critical it is for our county. And, once we have fiber, even to the farmhouses that are isolated, I mean, I know it's expensive, and they don't get a good return, and that's where we'd have to come up with some money, so it would lower their break-even point, if you will. So, but it wasn't as much as, you know, what I had in mind, so. But I know Woodward, Fairview, and some other places have had it done, so.
How did they, I mean, did they advertise the same way, or did
No.
they?
For some reason, and I can't tell you why, but Pioneer looked at their stuff and said, well, this is what we need to do. And I'm not saying they won't do it for us in the future, but we won't be at the top of the list.
Yeah, I'm sure numbers plays a lot with that, just
Yeah,
they see more return for their money.
yeah. So, and we did have a meeting with one of their higher ups and their engineering and people and stuff like that, so.
I think if we could push it out on social media, City of Alva's website, Chambers website, places like that, because
Yeah.
that's what people see more than anything
Well,
else
and-
anymore.
Individuals, if they would put it on their Facebook page and, you know, 'cause sometimes, you know, some people aren't connected to the chamber or, you know, they don't look at that stuff, but if a friend all of a sudden puts it out, oh, well, I'll go check that out. Because I've got a lot of college kids, you know, that have out there, and Connor does too. And, you know, I don't know how active they look at anything chamber, but they would if they saw something from him or me, they would look at it.
Well, the
Doesn't
other
mean
thing is, that could be, I think there's a way, through Caleb Mossberg and some people at the college where they could put that out, hey, you know,
Right.
we all complain about the internet, or we don't get, you know, it's not fast enough. Here's an opportunity to help do something,
Yeah, I agree.
you know.
It's
She
gonna
did say they
take,
sent it out in their chamber newsletter.
okay. I knew they were working on it, cause I'd sent it to, what's her name?
Emma?
Emma, yeah. That's a
Okay.
hard one for me.
So they're gonna send it out again, cause she
Okay.
said they didn't get any feedback on it.
Okay. But, so the infrastructure stuff in the county, we are working very diligently to acquire.
What else you got?
One of the things that I have been doing is when I run across a college student, I ask them, you know, what is something, you know, and I've asked them to send me stuff. What is something that you'd like to see in Alva for people your age to do? A lot of our business owners in town realize that there's not enough for college students to do. And they, every one of them, you know, kind of verbally tell me, but I have yet to receive anything, you know, in written form where I could bring it to a board or whatever and say, look, how do we make something like this happen? I'm thinking if we can get Caleb or somebody to put it on their social media and let them know that we want Alva to have the things for the students. And I don't know if that's possible.
I would think so. I mean, just to get a survey, say, you know, what would make your stay here more palatable?
Right.
You know, I know the nightlight, there was a lot of issues with the nightlight for different reasons. The one thing it did provide was a place where these kids could go hang out. I mean, and then taking the drinking aside, because it's not a big deal for me, but you know, a place where they could dance, or they could visit, or they could do whatever, and you know, that. So
And it was-
when it closed, all I'm saying is that was an area that most colleges have someplace that, I mean, you know, you go to Stillwater, you go to OU, obviously they have lots of those places, but, you know, some place that they can go and kind of hang out with kids their age, and whatever. So,
Right. I mean, I
Go
think,
hang out at the bowl, and then the city cops can stop them when they're coming back in.
You need to talk to a council person.
I do believe that has been resolved, so.
But I'm just saying, you know, there's, I mean, places like that, they have some benefit here, and I
Yes.
know that there's people that are just against anything that has to do with that, but they do provide an atmosphere that kids can just let their hair down, I guess.
Well, I had,
So,
Absolutely.
That's what happened to Neil, he let all of his hair down.
yeah, I ain't gonna go for it.
I hear that's what Connor's gonna do downtown, about a half a block from the police department.
Everyone on the same page.
I did have an adult tell me that they thought the kids needed a place that had the bowling alley, you know, with just a couple lanes, a trampoline deal, and I forgot,
Like a main event place where they could
yeah,
arcade and all that.
yeah. And I said, well, I'll see if I can find somebody that wants to finance, you know, because that would be a lot of expense on. a
You know, the
bowling
problem
alley.
with those kinds of places is they're fairly expensive to build, but then once you build them, they don't really generate a lot of
No.
income. So you have to have somebody that says, I'm doing it as a community thing.
Exactly.
Maybe I'm retired and don't, you know, I wanna manage something like that, but if you're looking for somebody to make a profit on it, they're probably not going to.
And that was basically my point. I mean, you're gonna get a spectrum this big, and, you know, it all boils down to, can somebody, you know, make it profitable? So, those are things that we work on daily, but Also, if we get the event center built, you know, there'll be places for them to have jackpots and, you know, all that kind of stuff. It'll keep a bunch of them busy. And I think with that going in, there'll be other things pop up as far as entertainment for,
Well, I think that'd be, once it's up and running, keep my fingers crossed every day, but once it's going, I think it lends itself to being able to bring in, we're not gonna bring in Michael Bublé or somebody like that, that I like, but,
maybe.
yeah, well, I don't know, he probably likes to make more money. But I'm saying, you know, you look at smaller groups and things that could come in, I think there's a benefit there, but. Anything else?
That pretty well gets me.
Okay. Do you all have any questions? Anything else you wish to discuss under the executive director's report?
Worn out after a longer than normal meeting.
Yeah.
You thought it was gonna be 5 minutes, didn't you?
I-
When we got through the first 9 items and 30 seconds.
Sometimes we do that.
Okay, I'm not aware of any new business that needs to be addressed, so we are at number 11, adjournment, and we will do that at 8:42. We are adjourned.